And the idea that I'm talking about today is lending money to your friends in just one tap. Okay, quick background on the team. So myself, my colleague Ilya and Max, they're both in Belarus. We're all mobile architects and mobile engineers. And we kind of throw things back and forth in terms of UX, UI. We run internal hackathons and do a lot of different stuff like this. So very, very happy to be here. So first, I want to frame the problem. How many people in the room have actually borrowed money from your friends? Maybe 10 bucks for a coffee, maybe a couple $100, maybe $1,000 for your startup, something like that. Okay, so it's a pretty common phenomenon, but the thing is, it's really awkward, it's inconvenient, it can be really stressful to ask people for money. So a lot of psychologists out there basically found that there's this mentality that, oh, I'll never get it back if I ask for somebody, because it's really, really awkward to say, hey, remember that $1,000 yearly type of payout. So there have been a lot of books, a lot of different talk about this, and Maggie Baker is actually one of these who wrote a book about Crazy About Money. It kind of talks about the dynamics of how money plays into relationships, and business, and marriage, and all things like that. But the really surprising fact is that about a quarter of Americans turn to friends and family for help with finances. This could be debt, this could be raising money for their idea, or even just, hey, I forgot my wallet, I want to buy a lottery. So I want to talk a little bit about the P2P lending space. It's up and coming, it's a growing space. There are a few big players out there, but it's growing about 84% per quarter. And this is everything from lending between friends to companies like Prosper and Lending Club. But the other thing is that the consumer finance loans are declining about 2% per quarter. And I know that's a big business for Citibank. So as this consumer finance loans are declining, this other type of lending is growing faster and faster. So I think it's an interesting opportunity to be a part of that. So in terms of numbers and statistics, this peer-to-peer lending space under conservative estimates has the potential to be a $114 billion industry. Last year alone, about $2.4 billion of peer-to-peer loans originated. And that's a pretty big number. So if you think about transaction costs and just taking a little bit to slice that pie, it's not something to laugh at. So that brings us to the solution called K-Ching. Yeah, you can hear money, right? So what if borrowing money could be as easy as one tap? So you select a contact. So this is assuming that you're both Citi customers. You log into your account using Citi credentials, and you basically look at the contacts on your phone, and then it basically pairs to see who's the Citi contact. So you choose an amount, you send a request. Then the other side, nice handy push notification pops up, and then you can approve or deny that transaction, basically eliminating the awkwardness of asking in person. You just send them a message. And you can also add details to that message, what it's for, etc., or you can maybe have a pre-conversation to set the stage. And then it takes care of that thing, the reminder. So it'll automatically prompt you saying that one, you remember who you lent to, but two, it reminds you actually pay them back. So let me show you a quick demo. We could swap the camera. Okay, so in this circumstance, let's pretend we have two friends. We have Larry, and we have Sergey. So first, Larry is, he wants $100 or something. I don't know what, but he wants to find something. So he's going to ask Sergey for a little bit of a loan. You can pick how much you want. You can also pick the terms. Let's say it's for a week, because it's a pretty short-term need. Go ahead and ask. Okay. Now Sergey actually gets a push notification on his device saying, hey, would you like to lend Abby $100 for a week? Okay. I like Sergey likes Larry. They've known each other for a little while. So he's going to press lend. Okay. That's going to go back. Now the money has been instantly transferred. So the pairing's been done. So now, since the term is a week, just about time we have to pay back the automatically prompt. But let's say Sergey is getting a little anxious. He wants to prod him, basically say like, hey, it's time to pay back. And actually ping, and get a notification saying, hey, your friend Sergey reminded me about your loan. So Sergey goes and does his business. He looks as, maybe he wants to sign up for a new credit card since their new airfield isn't ready yet. He hasn't actually used American Airlines. Larry just paid him back, get a push notification, and there you go. Simple as that. Back to the presentation, please. Okay, so what does this really mean for Citibank? Why would they want to get into this space, right? So I talked a little bit about the scale of the industry and all these different monetary dynamics, but the real key is that by basically pushing out an app like this, in which you're basically facilitating small loans between friends, between family, you're actually getting a lot of wealth of consumer behavior. You're tracking to see how people are lending, how frequently, and you're also basically establishing a new metric in terms of you're actually seeing which people pay on time, what are the amounts that people are asking for, but also things like you're actually, if somebody's borrowing a lot of money on a frequent basis, you can actually prompt them with a targeted credit card with a low interest rate or something like that. So rather than relying something on credit score when actually somebody actually comes into a branch and talks about their needs, you suddenly have another level of information. And this kind of goes back to this big trend of personalized applications, which to basically retain users, to keep users, and basically hold on to them so they don't run off to something like Simple Bank. You want to make sure that you know them, and then you can basically target and keep them happy. The other side is it basically grows your brand recognition and account growth. So with this kind of peer-to-peer lending solution, you're basically going to start taking market share away from things like Lending Club and Prosper and some of these other brands out there with a great banking institution that is basically a household name. And it also encourages people to sign up who might be other banking institution customers, but they'll come to Citi because of this interesting offering. And last, it's going to really start getting the Citi name affiliated with this peer-to-peer movement. You've all heard about Bitcoin, how that's the financial institutions are running around with their heads chopped off, like what are we going to do? So this is the next big thing in terms of the decentralization of the banking system. So it makes sense that you start small, you start on the level of friends and family, small transactions, get in the door, and see how it goes. In terms of the application, I know there was a question earlier about standalone application versus integrated. You could definitely integrate this into the existing Citibank suite of applications, but we're proposing that it be a standalone application that's single function. It's easy, it's as you saw, it's a couple clicks, it has push notifications, etc. It's highly integrated with Pop Money API, as well as a bunch of the other Citi APIs in the backend. And you can actually log in with the Citi credentials. So as it could stand as integrated, it can also be separate. But that's that. It's K-Ching.
How do you integrate the receiver's back end information? Because from the sender perspective, you have my information, but if I want to know this, I would not know connected on information. How would you integrate that?
Right, yeah, so on the first level, basically, there are two options that we thought about. One of which we basically affiliate a contact list with your Citibank account, such that basically compare people that you've transacted with in the past, or like do a lookup. On the other side, we basically have to do some sort of friend pairing, which basically send an invite to somebody who they know how to Citibank or prompt them to start a Citibank account to do the transaction.
Receivers?
Yeah, so this, we intended it to be just Citibank to Citibank. It kind of a limitation, I guess, of the transfers, because we were thinking this would be a fairly instantaneous transfer. So when you're dealing with a single institution, it would definitely be easier. But in the future, maybe with a little bit of a longer time frame, we could do it with third parties as well.
So thanks very much. I think this is really compelling, and to be able to think about next generation lending in the context of being able to model the payback periods around these consumers and then pass them back to our credit scoring models, really compelling. And my question is a little bit around same thing. So fine, if this is a Citi-owned platform, but you have it open to all banks, we still have the data. Your thoughts on, again, openness, where do you stand on that?
I think ideally this would be per institution. So this would really be a Citi product that is unique for Citibank and kind of also draws people in. It would be a big draw for people to actually come and do these microtech lendings. In terms of opening up on a platform, it would basically be, you'd have all the issues of information sharing and things like that. You basically have to create almost like a consortium of banks in which they would want to share information about. So I think we're proposing this would be a Citi-based solution.
do you see any interest revenue coming back and forth between friends, and how do you manage that?
All right, so we wrestled with that in terms of maybe for small transactions, it would just be a gesture of good faith in terms of no transactions. But maybe depending on the length of the loan, you could add in different dynamics of, okay, if you're going to borrow this for a week, sure, no fee. But if you're going to borrow it for a couple months or longer term, there'd be a fee involved. Then we also wrestled with the fact that maybe there's some sort of transaction cost that's prorated per the amount of money that the bank would pick up. But it's really, we have to do some customer research and back and forth to see if it's actually feasible, or if people can just go offline and give cash.
Hi, I really like the simplicity of the social connection. However, the question I have is really about whether you've thought about syndicating and therefore spreading risk, especially when the amounts are a little bit larger, and whether the bank could actually be a participant in that risk.
All right, that's a good question.